What do you think about Donald Trump's comments condoning Russian attacks on NATO allies who don't pay their share?
You can't have people who just mouth off like that, who are in international standings, positions of power. But as a sort of on the sidelines, I'm happy to hear the things that he says and he spouts out, because it's just like, yeah, like much as I disagree with a lot of his values and what he says 99% of the time, I also kind of get why he's saying that. Like, why is America paying for most of NATO and other countries are not paying? And why should America defend the countries when they're not paying their fair share? Like, I get that feeling, but I don't think, a national leader and superpower of the world should be actually saying that at a time when Russia is invading, like actively invading another country. It's just like encouraging them to go ahead and invade other countries because America's not going to help them.
I mean, I try not to be too much of a doomer about all this. Like this next election in the States, I hate how much it's going to affect us regardless. I mean, they're our neighbors. It's terrifying. I know that Russia's not stoked with Canada too, and I worry about what that. I mean, selfishly, when things are this scary, I try to hone in on Canada, see what safeties we have, and that's just up in the air with this too. It's weird that this random guy in the States is going to affect our future in such a big, scary way.
I think Donald Trump should be impeached. I think Donald Trump should be convicted, and I think Donald Trump should be in jail. What he is doing is absolutely 100% treasonous. As a Canadian, I think he's a dangerous political figure, and I don't think he should be given a mic anymore.
It's hard to know with him. He's so erratic. He spouts off things on the spur of the moment, so, I mean, maybe he believes that, but who knows?
I feel afraid for our country, for our freedom.
Why?
Well, because right now it may not be the best, but I mean, we still have freedom. We're able to walk around and so just scary to know that we could be attacked.
Does my face say enough? I think he needs a little more information before making sweeping statements like that. Maybe we're not spending what we're supposed to on defense. Maybe we need to get better at that, but we're part of NATO and we work together.
Well, I kind of like Trump, so sometimes you got to, be tough and to get results, and that's the way I look at, Trump and some of his decisions.
I think that those are, our trusted neighbors in the United States, and it's really disheartening to hear their potential leader talking that way, which is almost directed towards us. So I think we probably need to do more on the defense front, but you'd never talk to a trusted neighbor that way. So I think that's it's really scary for what's to come if Donald Trump regains power in the United States. Definitely.
He is no longer sitting president, so I mean his views on any sort of, foreign anything that goes on in the United States government, it has nothing to do with him anymore. He's just a mouthpiece as far as I'm concerned.
I think his way of doing things is to go a little bit overboard, but it still stands that most of these NATO allies are not paying for their own protection, and Russia has shone a light on that. So I think the criticism should be taken to heart, and especially Canada. There's a recent article about we are not up to defending ourselves, not in the old wars, never mind the new wars.
Well, I'm dual. I'm Canadian and American, and let's just say I register to vote every year, and the last two elections I made sure I did not vote for Trump. Anything he says, I don't even pay attention to. In fact, I try to avoid him on sound bites and news, and he's attention seeking, but yet he's a dangerous man.
I think it's ridiculous. While it's important to pay your fair share, and it is important to contribute to NATO, it is a very strong and important institution, especially in the past. The fact that anyone would condone attacks on these individuals, especially on our allies, is absolutely ridiculous. There shouldn't be a correlation between not paying and approval on attacks of such an insidious nature.
Yeah, it's always alarming when someone does something like that, and it's like to live in a world of peace, and so when it comes to something like that, it's troublesome. We live in a comfort zone of not having been exposed to war, at least in Canada, for a long time, and yeah, it's scary when people make that kind of proposition, and I'm saddened to hear that.
I don't think it's a good idea, probably. I guess it's important for people to pay their share, but I don't think attacking them is the solution.
Yeah, the state of the world it's an interesting spot these days. It's frightening. You know, it's a different world that we live in, polarizing opinions across the board. And when that comes from a former president and potentially a future president, quite concerning, for sure.
My opinion is that they are reprehensible and harmful, and that he consistently puts his own ego in front of the potential benefit of his country and his constituents, or potential constituents with this new election.
Yeah, condoning violence in any form at this point is a little bit ridiculous, and I think that other courses need to be taken no matter what the situation. There's always a better way through.
I think it's the usual Donald Trump, just get a rise out of everyone. There's no real backing behind much of what he says, so I don't give it much value.